Assalamualaikum dear students. This is Department of English, Government Postgraduate College Attock. This is BSc fourth year class and we are discussing our first essay, The Damned Human Race by Mark Twain. Today we will discuss its important questions and how you should attempt them. Our focus would be how to approach these questions and how to organize our answer. Question number one. Man is usually called the highest animal on the basis of intelligence. What are the specific traits that make him the lowest animal for Twain? Now, this is in human history, man has always considered himself as the highest animal, and Darwin also said that man is the highest animal in the chain of evolution. And human beings also like to think that they are more intelligent, more wise as compared to other animals. But according to Twain, if we look at the history of man, then we come to know that he is not an intelligent animal, nor he is the highest animal. The reasons that he puts forward are that how in the history of man we see man's cruelty and the way he treated other human beings in order to gain power, in order to gain wealth, and also how he treated even other animals. If we look at that history, if we look at the history of man, the history of violence and the wars that he fought and all that, then we can safely say that he is not the highest animal. Twain, in paragraph by paragraph, he tells us that how man has all the negative qualities like cruelty and greed and murder and violence, religious and national extremism, slavery and irrationality and vulgarity. All these points, these should be discussed in this question briefly, and you should discuss that how man is cruel, how greedy he is, how he has in the history he has shown uh, religious and national violence, and how he has made slaves of other people, and his irrationality and his vulgarity. All these facts they prove man for Twain as the lowest animal. And according to Twain, if we look at this history, it is quite evident that man cannot be compared with other animals, and Twain considers those animals as higher animals because they do not have they do not exhibit such kind of traits like the, the traits which are exhibited by men. So these are the points that should be discussed in this question. First, you have to discuss the general impression of man. The general impression means that how man is supposed to be rational and intelligent and the highest animal in this on this planet. But if we look at the history of man, we come to know that what are the things that he has done in the field of politics, in the name of religion, in the name of nationalism, and at the personal level too. If we look at all those things, we we can clearly see that man is uh, not the higher animal, and you have to discuss all these qualities in paragraphs, uh, that how man is cruel or greedy or uses violence and makes other people slaves and vulgarity and all that. Question number two. How does Tran try to shock the readers? What might be his purpose in using this technique? When at the beginning of his essay, Tran declares that man is the lowest animal, he shocks the readers because, as we have discussed, that there is this general impression that man is the highest animal and man is the best animal on this planet. But when Twain says that actually this is not so and man is not higher the highest animal, this is really shocking for the readers. But Twain tells the reader that he can prove it, and he says that in order to prove that, he would use what he calls scientific method. That is, through experiments and argumentation, he would prove his point. And then he also uses examples from history, he uses examples from politics and religion, he also uses different other traits of man to validate his point that how man is not the highest animal. Now, this is all very shocking, but if we, the reader, he cannot, uh, he cannot find any escape in all this debate. He, at the end of the essay, the reader has to agree with at least some of the points of Mark Twain. Because Mark Twain was a starist, and therefore his style it is quite as if you recall in our first lecture we discussed that the purpose of star is always to reform the society, to change the society for better, and this is also the purpose of Twain, that why is he saying all these things, because he wants man to look at himself, to analyze himself and thinks and think that what kind of history we have and what kind of behavior we exhibit, and all these things they must be highlighted in order to make people understand that their history is not a very good history, and we should think about our negative qualities. We should think about our violent behavior and our greed and our lust for power and this desire to torture people and animals and all that. We should revisit it. We should try to rethink it, that what kind of people we are. So this is the purpose of Twain in um, in shocking his readers. Question number three. Point out some of the examples of political and religious atrocities referred to in the essay by the author. Has Tran gone overboard here, or does man deserve this attack? Now, in this question, you are asked that you should uh, describe the examples of political and religious atrocities, cruelties committed by man, and then the second part of the question is that has gone has Tran gone overboard here. Overboard means that he has gone to the other extreme or exaggerated the things, or does man deserve this attack, or is it that man really deserved this attack? In the first part of the question, you have to give the examples from politics and from religion, that how in the history man has shown violence in the name of religion and in the name of politics to the other people, how he tortured people, how he killed even his own brothers and fathers or family members for the sake of power, and also in the name of religion, that how they in the Spanish Inquisition, how they used to burn people alive, and also doing many other kind of atrocities, committing many other kinds of atrocities in the name of religion. And then after that, you would say that no, Tran, he has not gone overboard here, because these are historical facts, and we have been doing that since the dawn of history, and there is no exaggeration in it. There is no These are not lies. Our history is full of violence, and our history is full of such kind of examples. And a man deserves this attack because he needs to reform himself. He needs to change himself and think about what is happening to him, and what is happening to the world around him because of his actions. So in this way, you have to answer this question. And question number 4 is, this essay was written in early 1900s. Is it true today? Have people improved in a century's time? The question is that this essay by Tran, it was written in the early 1900s, and is it true today, or people have improved in this time that is past, that is 100 years? The answer is no, people have not improved. In fact, in many ways, humanity has gone worse. For example, in the 20th century, there were two world wars were fought. In the First World War, which was fought between 1914 and 1918, 10 million people were killed. And then in the Second World War, which was fought between 1939 and 1945, we see that 50 million people were killed, and including two nuclear bombs that were dropped on two Japanese cities. And then there are other examples, the atrocities which are being committed in Kashmir or Palestine or Bosnia or Iraq or Syria. Everywhere we see that man uh, has gone even worse. Now, with the development of technology and development of sophisticated scientific weapons, they are more capable of harming other people. And therefore, we can say that this essay is relevant today. It is even more relevant if we look at the history of man, if we look at the things that are done by him. So this is the answer to these 4 questions. And in our next lecture, we will start our next chapter. Till then, take care.